All right, we're live. Say hello, James.
We are live. What's up, South Florida? And thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me, James.
How's it going, dude?
I'm doing great, you?
Excellent. I feel very appropriately dressed. I'm Miami Vice, and now I see this strapping gentleman here. I'm well dressed.
Gotta love the accent. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alex Vidal, president of Related ISG International Realty, and host of the show you're watching today, The Closer Club, episode number 55. One away from my high school football number.
Fantastic.
We are sitting here with James Harris, star of $1 Million Listing LA, one of the principals in the agency, one of the new real estate brokerages here in South Florida. Everybody wonders why I have my competition on the show, and I say we're not competition. At the end of the day, we all need to be in this business together, and that's how we get deals done.
That's right.
So here we go. This guy has done about $1 billion in sales in the last 2 or 3 years alone, so you may want to tune in on this one for a little bit.
Tune in. We got lots of fun
Let's
questions.
do it.
And
You ready?
Man. I am ready.
All right, let's go.
Thank you.
James, as you can tell, you're from London, England.
I am.
Broke into the world of business in general at 16
Yep.
to becoming one of the top real estate brokers in LA.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your path to where you are today.
Well, that's a long question. We will be done in 3 hours. No, it's been
I told you 15 minutes.
It's been a crazy journey, man. I mean, not many people leave school at 16.
Oh, you left school at 16?
I left school at 16. Okay. I always say school wasn't for me. I don't recommend it, but you know, I always had this sort of vision in my mind that I wanted to be successful, and I knew it was going to be in real estate. My mother's an interior designer, and so the second I got out of school, I was in a real estate job at 16, in the mailroom, putting letters through the machine, getting them out, doing whatever it took, making coffees, and there is where it all began.
Was that in LA or was that in London?
In London from 16 to 21,
Okay.
Came to Los Angeles at 21 during the recession. And so during the recession, I was trading commodities, and then the second the economy started to build its way back up, myself, my business partner David said, right, let's set up our real estate company. And we didn't know anybody, no one in our phone book, no telephone numbers, no listings, and it was a grind. And looking back at it, one thing I always tell myself is the opposite of fear is faith. And in situations like that, you have to believe, you have to have faith, and just erase fear from your vocabulary.
Yeah, it's interesting. So this is, I shared it, this is episode number 55.
Yes.
And the common denominator among the super successful guys that are worth, $1 billion, there's five common denominators, but one of them is exactly that. You have to believe, because you will have moments of self-doubt.
Of course.
But if you believe in yourself, they last for about 2 minutes.
That's right.
And you move in.
That's absolutely right.
So looking back on your career, you said before off camera, you've been in the business for about 7 years now.
Yep.
What was that breakthrough moment in your business that took you to the level where you are today? And
Yep.
what can our viewers learn from that?
You know, I think I'd say our breakthrough moment was after about 6 months in business, and this is real estate.
Holy shit, hold on.
It's a
7-year career, in 6 months you had the breakthrough. Okay.
We represented a buyer and a seller on a $30 million transaction.
30.
And the reason I say it was the breakthrough is I feel like so many people in real estate take this simple business and make it very complicated.
Yep.
When in actual fact, if you keep it simple, you'll be successful. And we had a client that had a building in West Hollywood, and she called me up one day and said, we're selling the asset, I want $30 million, here's what I'll pay you in commission, get it done. And I thought, oh my God, here's a real situation, a live lead, what am I gonna do with it?
Sure.
And I immediately thought of a developer that we knew out of New York, and myself and David booked our flights. We flew to New York, we got a meeting with the developer, we presented the asset, and we sold it for $30 million. It closed in about 2 months. The seller walked away with their number, the buyers got the deal, but what I learned from that is never let anything get in front of you. You know, no matter what it is, no matter what you have to do, be prepared and do not let anything stand in the way of that. And I think in real estate, it's about connecting people. And we're essentially the middlemen to put those two people together. And you've got to be forward thinking, you've got to think outside the box, you've got to be creative. And as long as you can do that and implement that into your business, you'll be successful. So that was the breakthrough for us. And then we had the ego and the backs went back,
Okay.
and now we're walking the walk and talking
Okay,
the talk.
so let's leave that. And what I love most about that is keeping it simple. I think in today's age, and we talked off camera about how many hundreds of realtors we have in my company and how many thousands of realtors in South Florida. And I think realtors almost want to complicate their business.
Correct, they do.
To validate why they're getting paid the big money.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's true, but it doesn't need to be done. It can be kept simple as long as you're prepared to put in the work, the time, and hustle.
So what were, you 2015, 2016, you sold around 250 million each year. 2017, over 500 million. What was it like when you first got started in the business? Even though after 6 months you doubled into a $30 million deal. But and more specifically, what were the 3 things you did to break into the high-end business?
Great question. I think, look,
My turn for coffee.
Of course, coming into the LA market, which, it's dog eat dog. I mean, it's a cutthroat business. The commissions are high. You have to be on your toes, and we didn't have a person in our phone book. I kid you not, we didn't have a listing, we didn't have a person in our phone book, and so for us, it was about never giving up, right? So what I personally did, and I can only share what I did, is I looked out for all the other agents that were successful in my farm, the areas that we wanted to be successful in. And after I sort of picked out the top 5, I said, right, these are the 5 I want to be like, these are the 5 I'm going to be better than, and these are the 5 I aspire to be more successful than. And I work in a capacity of a healthy competition. I don't need to screw you over to make money. I want to be successful, maybe more successful, but do it in my own way. So what we did to sort of break through was things that nobody wants to do, but you need to do, which is sit open houses. I always tell people, sit open houses. It costs 0 to do. There's buyers coming in, there's sellers coming in, learn your market. Information is key. If you have the information at your fingertips, people will will receive it well. Door knocking. Again, nobody likes to door knock.
I love it. That's how I started.
I love it. I love it. And I always tell people, David and I used to print out a list, and we'd play rock, paper, scissors for who was going to sit in the car and laugh at the other one whilst the other one door knocked. And Dave and I door knocked Leonardo DiCaprio, we door knocked Dr. Dre, we didn't give a shit whose house we were door knocking. It was just a question of getting in front of people.
Sure.
And actually our first deal was a $6.5 million deal in Bel Air from a door knock. And that house has now been torn down, and we're about to relist it for $40 million. It's a 20,000 square foot Paul McLean house. And then the other thing, to break into this market, and no one's going to expect us to say this, but I look at it like this. Your clients, they come and they go, but agents stay. So I learned from a very early time that my relationships with other agents were key, because your reputation is everything. And if you can learn to love and like your broker community, they don't have to like you or love you, but at least have respect for you. When it comes time to submit an offer, for example, and there's 3 offers on the table, but the listing agent's your friend, whose offer are they going to take more seriously, yours or the other 2 people? So we learned from an early on to become friends with your broker community, build your reputation, earn it, keep it, and those are the 3 top things I
love it. And my boss always says, keep your powder dry.
That's right.
I just turned 41 on Sunday.
My God, look at this guy.
22 years in the business.
Yep.
And I probably have another 30 years to go. So that's 50 years. You got to keep your powder dry.
Man, I love it.
Now, probably my favorite question out of all this
Yes.
is, you're facing an interesting challenge ahead. You obviously have had huge success in LA. Your company's had huge success in LA. Now you're coming to South Florida. You in particular are going to try to tackle the high end among some amazing agents like Dora Puig, Nelson Gonzalez, Julian Johnson, etc. How do you plan on doing that?
Absolutely, great question. Again, I think for me, I've always used the rule of success breeds success. I like to hang around and bring myself together with successful people. Jared, Chris, Gina, the agency group that we already have in place, and all the agents that are here are successful, they're hungry, they're creative. We're here in South Florida, and we're here to stay, and we're going to grow, we're going to build. And you know what? It's not that we're coming after those big agents, but we believe in a healthy competition, and so we want to bring our brand here, and we're staying and we're growing at a fast rate, and we're going to continue to do so. And I plan on spending more time here, and I want to work with everybody within the company to help organically grow this. We have clients from Los Angeles that own homes here. It's a great tax haven out in Florida. And so we're just continuing to tackle this head on, and hope that we have healthy competition with the other agents.
Are you going to plan on door knock down here?
Absolutely.
Door knock is the way to go.
Absolutely it is.
Now, I love asking the big agents this question. If you had only one story to tell about a crazy deal, what would it be?
Oh my God, there's one deal. It's funny. David and I.
Look at that smirk.
It just goes back to, you've got to do what you've got to do, right? To get a deal through. And we had a client of ours that loved art and dogs. Okay. And we were showing her a $38 million home. And so David and I decided that we would build a real life-size doghouse that we would put in the house so that when she came over with her dogs, the dog could hang out in the doghouse. And then we had another same day where we handled one of her $1 million pieces of art, and we had art removers and insurance, and we had the art taken off the wall and installed on the new house. So she comes in, the art's on the wall, the doggy bed house is there. She comes over with the dog, and the dog never went in the house, and don't even think she noticed the art. But there you go. 5 years later, she's still a client.
That's awesome.
You do what you got to do.
That's right, you do.
You know,
All right.
what you got to do.
Lightning round, favorite part of every interview. One word, very short answers. We did not go over any of these questions before.
Yes.
Best ROI for leads.
Open houses.
There you go. Favorite social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube?
Instagram.
Instagram. One daily practice every agent should be doing to change their business for the better.
Focusing on themselves and
Interesting.
getting better with yourself so that you can go out and service others.
Okay.
That's really an important one for me.
Yeah, it's funny. I do this exercise with agents all the time. I'm like, so, think about it. Your watch. I wear a GPS running watch because
Very nice.
in me, I'm like, life is a marathon, not a sprint. So it reminds me of that.
I like that.
But you think about how much you wear in a watch and your suit, your clothes, but and you could be wearing thousands of dollars. But very few people will spend money to invest in themselves and make themselves better at their craft.
I'm a big believer in, and I really am, that you have to work on yourself first if you're going to go out there in this crazy world and be successful. Because if you don't love yourself, who you are, what you're about, then how are you going to go out there and help others? The other thing is you have to take care of yourself in order for your clients to want to take care of you. Sure. And they feel that, they see that, and ultimately, again, success breeds success. If you're successful, your clients feel that, see that, and want to be a part of it, and it works out well.
There you go. How much of your income do you put back into marketing?
Great question. I would say probably 30%.
Nice, on the high side.
Very much.
But again, success breeds success, right?
You have to spend money to make money. That's how we look at it.
Something we'd be surprised to know about you.
Oh my God. I'm completely nuts.
That makes two of us.
Unless you haven't noticed, I have extreme ADD, and I love it.
There you go.
And I use it to my advantage daily.
Absolutely. All right, two last questions.
Yes.
You started this new venture called PLS.
Correct.
All right, tell us a little bit about it. Why did you start it? What is PLS?
Yeah, the PLS is the pocket listing service.
Okay.
The company was founded several years ago for so many different reasons in our business, but I think the reason I just wanted it to become something real was, as agents, we probably get 20, 30 e-blasts a day of this property and that property, and I don't know about you, but you end up just deleting them.
Every single one.
Every single one of them, and unless you have a buyer in that second, you're on to the next thing. And so I wanted to create a platform where all of this information could sit in one place for the agents only to use it to their best advantage, bringing the power back to the agent. But the other reason is, if you go on a listing meeting, and let's just use 5 million as the number for now, right? The property is worth 5 million. The seller wants you to put it on the market for 6.5. How often does that happen?
Yeah.
Where the sellers think the property is worth more than...
Every single time.
Right? So what a great way to turn around to your seller in the pitch when you go for the listing and say, hey, I've got a platform that you can tell your seller about, that you can put the property on our platform, test the price point. There's 13,000 people on our platform right now. Let's pre-market the property before it goes on the MLS. Hey, we might find a buyer. But if we don't, at least we'll hopefully get some showings and we'll be able to get more familiar with what the right price should be.
Before you start, and that people will see the history of the price or anything.
That's right, because the way the MLS works is like this. Once you go live on the MLS can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. It can be your best friend because it can help you get your home sold very quickly. But if it doesn't sell quickly, you start accumulating days on market, which becomes detrimental to the property. Once you pass 30, 45 days, agents look at it and they're like, it's overpriced, there's something wrong with it, and they end up not even sending it to their client. So what if we have a platform where you can put that property, test price points, pre-market the property before it even goes on the MLS? So it's going really well. We have over 13,000 members. We've got $8.5 billion worth of inventory on the platform.
Do you have an average? Is there an average price point that goes on? No price
starts
point.
at, it could be 100,000. And we put all of our listings on there. We have 40, 50, $60 million listings.
What does it cost to the agents?
So right now the service is free. We are completely rebranding the company as we speak, and a brand new website, lots of new tools, lots of new things to come, and then things will change and it will become a monthly subscription ultimately. Sure. But right now it is free, and I do recommend signing up. It's thepls.com, and it is a great service.
Thepls.com.
Correct.
Altogether.
Exactly.
All right. Last question.
Yes.
Book, podcast, or TED Talk recommendation for the audience?
Oh wow. Which one?
Any of the three, or none. That's okay.
No. Podcast. I would go with Tony Robbins.
Really?
Absolutely. The guy, for me, I went to my first seminar very recently and I didn't want to go. I actually cancelled the day before, and my friend said, "You're coming." And look, I would say I took 99% away from it. For me, the best thing about that is how you deal with fear, how you deal with your inner self, and how you can either have a fear that's this big and monstrous to you, or how you can diminish that fear to this big, throw it behind you. And in our business, there's a lot of challenges. And if I'm ever faced with a fear, the first thing I do is step in front of it rather than stand behind it. And that's the only way to overcome it. And that's probably why I recommend Tony Robbins.
There you go. James.
What a pleasure.
This was awesome. Thank you, man.
No, thank
I appreciate
you.
it. Thank you guys for watching. And any parting words before I go?
Keep up the success and keep moving forward.
There you go.